Welcome to episode 4 of a series where I go from absolutely nothing to try and having a billion coins. So last episode we started on the very basics of getting a factory, and frankly we didn't have much money either, and we were relying on pink sticky gears. We are changing that today. We are not going to be relying on pink sticky gears. We're going to be able to AFK and make probably more money, I would say so. And I do go for gearboxes in this video, but there's something I find out that I think is a little bit more OP. So stay tuned, wait till the end, because it kind of gets awesome. We have the ability to make a lot of money. So of course we can't make money from our factory at the moment. It is pathetic. It's like a single steel mill or something, and like we're just producing steel ingots. Like, it's not gonna make us any money. We've got to do some slime farming. So after slime farming for about probably like I think 2 hours I farmed for, I now had enough to basically get a few molds. Now I needed these molds because I needed to make myself some steel presses. What a steel press does is basically allows me to turn steel items, it'll go through a steel press with a mold inside of it, and basically then I will be able to make those components that I need to make a gearbox. But something I didn't realize is these go for almost 18 million coins or something crazy like that, so I couldn't just buy them. We had to make them ourselves. So after AFKing over the course of about 2 nights, I had my steel mill going, so I was able to turn that into steel rods, and I also had copper rods which I cannot craft, so I had the mold for that. I also had the mold for a plate going on each of those nights, and this gave me enough to make 1 steel mill. So finally we had our first part of the production going. This is only one of the two steel mills that we would need, and it's quite slow. So we're going to be doing a lot of upgrades in this video, considering how slow the rate of production this is already. So because the rate of production was so slow and I really wanted to make a gearbox and finally get myself some quick cash, basically from me AFKing there was a bunch of steel left over that I didn't need to turn into steel rods. I could then drop this manually just by spamming Q, just doing like a butterfly click on it. And basically I just dropped as much steel as I could into this machine, and it basically just made all the components I would need. But I would then eventually run out of steel that I could drop, so I realized, well, I'm not making any steel overnight this way, so I'm going to make a separate steel mill. So I went to the shop and I got everything I needed to make a second layer, and I could later replace this with another steel press when I got one. So now I overnighted because we just needed one more steel press, and then we would be able to completely automate every component we need to make a gearbox. Keep in mind, a gearbox goes for 2 million a piece, and if we can also automate the steel presses as well, we won't get it as often as a gearbox, but that is still an extra 20 mil probably per night, just from the extra steel press we get. So after a night, I looked at my farms and realized, oh yeah, I'm also getting onion crates from this, so I'm also making a decent amount of money there in the background, which we will eventually be upgrading a ton. That is why I have kept my green sticky gears. I believe I also did a bunch of upgrading, I just forgot exactly where in the video I did so. So now we had overnighted, we could make 2 gearboxes. That's 4 million coins, let's go! Also, just to let you know, we also had 2 steel mills, right? So that farm right there is worth over 40 million coins just because of those 2 steel presses. But that's not enough. We want a more expensive, we want a bigger farm. So that's what we're gonna do. So I went to a store and sold my 2 gearboxes, which is my first pieces of production from this farm, so I was very happy to sell these, and we got 4.4 million coins, which is decent, but not good enough. We want to be able to sell a lot more of these per night. So I went to get some more steel mills. Now you're probably thinking, why do you want more steel mills? Don't you just want to keep making more and more of these systems with a steel press in each one? Well, the thing is, we don't really need to make more steel presses. First of all, they're expensive, and they're just going to take up a bunch of room if we just make an entirely new system for each single steel press having one steel mill and a smelter each. I think we can do better. We're going to do 4 smelters, 4 steel mills, all on 1 steel press. Considering how fast the steel press can work, this is going to be completely fine. It's not really going to affect anything. It's going to be just as good as if we did an entire steel press for every single smelter and steel mill. So I spent kind of like quite a few hours, a little longer than I would like to admit, trying to work out a system. This is what I mean why I kind of spent way too long on trying to work out a system and then ending up completely failing at it. So I just went for a smelter on every single steel mill. Cause smelters were a bit more expensive than steel mills, I was like, hey, I mean, a steel mill is slower than a smelter. What if I can use like some sort of splitter thing? I don't know, because I'm a noob. And I didn't want to use turning conveyors either. So let's just say it turned out to be a complete mess, and in the end I just went a smelter for every steel mill, and I ended up having 4 steel mills for every steel press. It worked in the end. So now I basically had the design completely sorted out. I just needed to make a second one of these, and I needed to add all these smelters and everything else that I didn't have on me. I needed to quickly go and buy. So I went over and bought some smelters and some other things, and then I was able to come back and continue working on it. Okay, so I officially had half of the farm done. This costs a lot to make, and this was only half of it, because obviously you need 2 steel components, and then you've also got to hope that your copper farm, so my copper press, is also producing enough components to keep up with how much the steel presses are producing. A lot of things that might outspeed each other, so I guess we're kind of limited to how fast we can make this by how fast the copper can be made. So I would show a time lapse just so you can get a rough idea of what kind of farm I made and how I did it, but every time I try time lapse, usually my computer crashes because it is stupid. I don't know, it's something to do with my downloaded version of DaVinci Resolve, I don't know. But this is basically what the farm looks like. Okay, so now we've got both the components here. Just to let you know, I did do a bunch of AFKing. I didn't all just do this with like 10 million coins. This was over the course of a few nights, but we officially had it so we can now just AFK these things. Like, look at this, look how beautiful this looks, just so much machinery. So I ended up going AFK for quite a long time, probably the course of maybe 3 nights worth. Let's just say I was recording everything when I was like selling it all. I wasn't recording the right thing. I turned my game capture off. So I don't have any footage of that, but I can tell you how much I sold everything for. So the gearboxes, we managed to get 10 gearboxes from about 3 nights of AFK, which I found someone selling for exactly 2 million coins each, so I was able to sell them for 20 million coins. And we also had enough stuff to get ourselves 2 steel presses, which is probably worth almost 40 mil, but people are only buying them at the moment for about 12 mil in shops. So I've decided I am not going to sell them. If you have watched it all the way to this video, I want you guys to vote. Do we sell them and get about 24 mil, or like wait for a little for the price to go up a little and then sell them then? Or do we put them back into our farm? But yeah, if you guys could just comment that down below, that would mean a lot to me. I will be hearting every single comment I read, so if it's been hearted, you know I've read it. And I read every single comment. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolute legends, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.